This is a story of respect and identity, but in the end I'm curious to know if you think I was the asshole. I recently started teaching at an Ivy League college, a place that's been part of my life in more ways than one. I'm of Hispanic descent, and both my parents have worked at the university for decades. My dad was a janitor until he retired, and my mom still works there in the same capacity. They love the school, love the benefits, and take pride in their work. Their jobs help them give me opportunities they never had. Thanks to their hard work, I attended the same Ivy League school they worked at for undergrad, earned a master's degree elsewhere, and eventually came back to teach. The day before classes officially started, I was at the campus cafeteria chatting with my mom in Spanish during her break. I was dressed casually in jeans and a t-shirt, since I didn't have to teach that day, and she was in her uniform. After her break, she had some prep work to do, and I stuck around to help her set up chairs and move some heavy equipment. It was a nice moment, a reminder of how far we'd come, but also of where we started. While we were working, a group of students came through. One of them, a young woman who seemed full of herself, threw an empty coffee cup onto the floor, right in front of us. I asked her, politely but firmly, to pick it up. Her response? Make me. Then she laughed, muttered something derogatory about Mexicans being paid to clean up and walked away, leaving the trash where it was. I was stunned and furious, but I didn't escalate it at the time. My mom, ever the peacekeeper, shrugged it off and told me not to worry about it. The next day was the first day of classes. I was in my suit, ready to meet my students. As fate would have it, that same young woman walked into my classroom, completely unaware of who I was. She didn't recognize me without my jeans and t-shirt. She probably assumed I was just the help the day before. The class started and everything was fine, until my mom dropped by to leave a cookie on my desk as a first-day present. She's always been thoughtful like that. As she was leaving, the same student, not realizing the connection, tried to hand her an empty coffee cup and said something like, "Can you take care of this?" My mom, being the kind and accommodating person she is, reached for the cup, but I stopped her. I told the student, "Throw it away yourself, and learn to have some respect." The room went dead silent. My mom was clearly embarrassed and upset that I'd stepped in. She told me later that she didn't mind taking the cup and that it's part of her job to clean. But I wasn't okay with it. I couldn't let that student treat her, or anyone like that, especially after what happened the day before. Now I'm grappling with whether I handled the situation poorly. My mom thinks I made a big deal out of nothing and that I shouldn't have pushed back. She takes pride in her work and sees helping students as part of her role. But for me, it's about respect. That student's behavior wasn't just rude, it was demeaning and rooted in entitlement. She saw my mom in a uniform, assumed she was beneath her, and treated her like she wasn't even human. I couldn't let that slide. Some colleagues I've shared this with say I should have used it as a teachable moment instead of calling the student out in front of the class. But how do you politely teach someone to not be a jerk? Others think I should have revealed the whole truth, that the woman she disrespected the day before and tried to dismiss as a Mexican janitor is my mother, and that I'm not just another staff member, I'm her professor. But I didn't want to turn it into a gotcha moment or make it about me. It's about respect for everyone, regardless of who they are. Still, I wonder if I let my emotions get the better of me. Did I overstep by calling her out so publicly? Should I have stayed quiet as my mom would have preferred? Or was I right to make it clear that her behavior wasn't acceptable? Am I the asshole for not telling my students the truth about who I am, my background, and who my mother is? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.